What's happening, guys? We are back with another city update. Today, we are going to be working on 2 new plaza areas because in my last video, the response was overwhelmingly to leave this one open. So that's what we're going to do. But first, we are going to be focusing on this area of the city because initially, I really wanted to do some water illumination in my city. I decided not to illuminate the beach and the waves. That being said, if you want to see how I was going to do that and the techniques, stick around for a video in the next couple days. But you can see here, I'm ripping all the tiling up, running that wire through the clear headlight brick, which makes it really useful for lighting. So highly recommend using those pieces if you want to start lighting up your builds. But you can see it's just a lot of boring work, ripping things up and putting it back together. So I didn't really change much of the design of the fountain. I kind of like it, but you can see now I'm also switching up the umbrellas. I got tired of the sand green. I just wanted to do something a little bit different. And I really love this bright light blue and those curved slopes. So I do have instructions on my Rebrickable for both this umbrella and the sand green one, and they're free. So go check them out. So next I added this little statue on top of the fountain. I need to go back and replace it with an actual proper monochromatic white minifigure, statuette, but this is what I got on hand for right now. It looks okay. One of the things I really would have liked to have done was moved this fountain actually further away from the building towards the edge of the table, right where those sort of white angle tiles sit. But unfortunately I have 4 base plates that intersect right there. So to get the fountain there, light it up, and have everything fit in a modular way, it just would have been a lot of work. But once you turn the lights off and you see the blue, I gotta say, it looks pretty good. I think it's maybe a little too blue. I probably should have used just like a warm white light instead of the actual blue, but now that I've done all the work, I don't really want to go rip it out. So looks good enough for now, but next it's actually time to focus on this new plaza, which I'm really excited about. So for this area, I'm thinking it'll be a little bit like a seasonal display area where I can switch things up periodically and just have a place in the city to be a little bit more creative with minifigures and lights and just activating this little pocket. So in January, I got the retro food truck and I knew I wanted to put it in the city somewhere, but I also knew I needed to modify it to make it fit. So I started building it. After bag 1, I went back and I ripped some things out. I added Technic plates just so I could easily run wires through it. And I want to give a shout out to Bevan's Bricks because one of the products I'm using here, which is a game changer, is his magnetic mills connectors. If you watch my city update from a few months ago where we did the beach, you'll see I talked about it then as well. And really what it does is it makes lighting so much easier because you don't have to worry about so many expansion ports. So if you guys have questions about it, let me know. I'll do another video on lighting here soon, but that's a huge, huge help when it comes to light. So as I kept working on the food truck, I was making little modifications here and there. I added windows just so the light would spread a little bit more. I also added this little windowsill with some flowers and some ivy just so that it would fit in the city, but honestly, I realized ivy growing up a truck is kind of stupid, so I don't know. Let me know what you guys think and if I should keep it in there or not. All right, so next you can see I'm just finishing up some of the wiring and then going back and covering everything up and then adding all of the tiling. So I will say though, my favorite part of this food truck that I've modified is this red, white, and green awning. I wanna change it up a little bit. I think I have some other ideas for it, but just seeing the colors with the bright light blue, I think looks really good. So now it's time to install the next magnetic mills connector on this section of the hill section. So that way I can kind of illustrate for you guys how it actually works. So you can see I've got the brick right on the edge of the mills plate and it's lined up so that it will touch the other magnetic mills brick. And then you can see I'm running the wires all the way through it, connecting that to an expansion port, and then plugging the power into that expansion port. So you'll see in a second when I push the build into the city and they connect, you'll see the lights hit. So you can see here I'm connecting this wire from my Tuscan base plate to this little food truck base plate, and then those 2 magnets, when they touch, because one of those magnets is connected to power, you're going to see the Tuscan building and the 3 little bollards light up once the magnets hit. And now for the payoff, and there we go. Much better. All right, so now that we got the build in the city, it's time to go ahead and activate this area. So I'm gonna contradict myself and I'm gonna use the sand green umbrellas I was tired of looking at because honestly, I didn't wanna go back and rebuild a new umbrella type, but then we're gonna add some tables and chairs, and I'm really liking how this area is looking. It feels like it's its own little section of the city, and it's kind of got a nice departure from the rest of the town, so really happy with how it's looking so far. So next I'm adding tables and chairs, and then here is where it really gets fun because you guys gave me some great ideas for some minifigure storylines to put throughout the city. And one of the ideas you guys gave me was to do something kind of like with the mafia and the mob. And I know Brick Crafts is kind of doing that. And one of the things I thought would be kind of fun because see, I've got this pizza truck right here and behind it is actually my pizzeria mock. And I used to put my little Citizen Brick Soprano figures outside of it. So what I'm doing now is I've re-put my Soprano guys outside of it, and I've got kind of this new little, I don't know, sketchy looking crew that I'm gonna be putting kind of around this pizza food truck. So it's kind of gonna be like two warring sort of pizzerias, or I don't know, something like that. So kind of a fun story, but yeah, it's really been fun to think of some of these new like little storylines and just adding the minifigures through the city. I have so many that I don't see because they're all just in storage. So it's really fun to be putting them out in the city now. All that being said, I am remembering now why I used to not put minifigures in the city, because as you can see when I'm placing them, I'm knocking like every tree and sign and everything down. So it is kind of a pain, but they do look better in the end. So focusing back on the Tuscan Plaza, I'm gonna start activating this area now. You can see just similar to the last one, adding some tables and chairs, you know, a couple beers, a couple coffee cups, a croissant, and then we're gonna start adding some minifigures. So I obviously had to add the pandas. That's a must. And then one of my favorite Citizen Brick figures is Prince. And then next up is Walter and the Dude from The Big Lebowski. And the reason I wanted to add all these fun minifigures here is because this area sits really front and center for me when I'm sitting at my build table. So I really wanted to just focus on having some fun with these minifigures. So then I added Dwight and Michael from The Office. Then I added a couple just other minifigures. So you've got the little, I call him the sommelier, but he's actually a waiter. You've got Larry the barista from the Lego Movie, and then of course I couldn't go without putting in my Deadpool figure. So it's been really fun adding these minifigures. I'm looking forward to doing some more of that. But that's it for today's city update, guys. I am finally back in a good swing in the Lego room making some videos, so expect to see some more new content in the next couple weeks, and we'll see you next time.